All right. Buckle up, everyone. We're going deep on Canadian politics today. Things are, well, they're pretty wild right now. I mean, first we had Trudeau out of nowhere. Bam, he's stepping down.
Yeah.
That throws the whole Liberal leadership race wide open. And then there's Chrystia Freeland. Our sources say she's about to make a huge move.
Big move.
But before we get into all that, let's take a step back and set the scene right. What's the current lay of the land in Canadian politics?
Well, I think the big thing to remember is this isn't happening in isolation.
No, not at all.
We've got a new U.S. president about to take office, and, well, let's just say things could get a little unpredictable down south.
Understatement of the year.
That adds a whole other dimension to everything up here, you know?
Totally. Okay, so let's rewind for a second. Trudeau drops this bombshell, says he's done, and then Freeland, his right-hand woman, resigns from cabinet and writes this letter, and it raised some eyebrows, to say the least. What was it about that letter that got everyone talking?
It was more than just your typical I quit letter, you know? She used it as a chance to kind of lay out her own vision, specifically on the economic front. She even went so far as to call some government policies, get this, costly political gimmicks.
Whoa, gimmicks. That's pretty harsh. What policies do you think she's talking about?
My guess is she's taking aim at some of the big spending programs, the ones that critics say are more about scoring political points than they are about sound economic planning.
I see.
And coming from Freeland, especially given her background as finance minister, that criticism carries some serious weight.
No doubt. So with Trudeau stepping down, it's like the starting gun for this leadership race is fired. We've already got a few names in the mix, Shami Batiste, Chandra Auria, Frank Baylis, but the big fish haven't jumped in yet. Which brings us back to Freeland. Sources tell us she's planning to announce her candidacy this week, before Trump's inauguration on January 20th. Why is that such a big deal? Why is everyone holding their breath for this?
Well, Freeland, she's a force, you know? She's got the economic chops, she's popular, and she's not afraid to speak her mind. That's a powerful combination, and it makes her a serious contender right out of the gate.
But you've hinted that she might face some bumps in the road, too. What are those challenges, and how could they affect her chances?
One thing that's sure to come up is her record as finance minister. You know, her opponents are going to dig into the economic data, look for any weak spots, and try to use that against her.
Makes sense.
And then there's the whole internal politics of a Liberal Party. Even though she's popular overall, there are definitely factions within the party who don't see eye to eye with her on policy.
Yeah.
Or who are already batching other candidates. She'll have to navigate that carefully.
It's funny, right, how the very things that make her a strong candidate, her boldness, her past decisions, those could become vulnerabilities too. It's all about how the race plays out. And speaking of strong candidates, we're also expecting Mark Carney to throw his hat in the ring this week.
Oh, yeah, Carney. That adds a whole new layer of intrigue, doesn't it?
Totally.
He's the former Bank of Canada governor, so he's got serious economic credentials. And he's got that international experience, too, which could be a big draw for voters who are, you know, a little nervous about what's happening in the U.S. right now.
Yeah, they want someone steady, someone who can handle things on the world stage. But Carney's never actually held elected office before.
Yeah.
How much of a disadvantage is that in a leadership race like this?
Well, it cuts both ways, you know. On one hand, he's a fresh face. He doesn't have the baggage that comes with years in politics.
Right.
And that could appeal to voters who are tired of the same old, same old. Plus, that global experience, that's a huge asset in this day and age. But on the flip side, he's never been through the trenches of a campaign before.
It's a different beast, right?
It is. It's tough, it's demanding, and it takes a certain kind of savvy. We'll have to see how he adapts.
So we've got these heavy hitters potentially entering the race. But there are others still on the fence. Former BC Premier Christy Clark has hinted she might run. And then there are several cabinet ministers who are still weighing their options. What does all this tell us about the state of the Liberal Party right now?
I think it shows a party that's at a crossroads. There's a lot of ambition, a lot of different visions for the future. You've got seasoned veterans and up-and-comers all trying to figure out where the party goes from here.
Yeah.
This race isn't just about replacing Trudeau. It's about defining the future of the Liberal Party. It's a big moment for them.
Absolutely. And then there are the folks who decided to sit this one out. Dominic LeBlanc, Melanie Joly, Stephen McKinnon, and most notably Anita Anand, who's actually stepping away from politics altogether. What's your take on those decisions?
I think it shows just how high the stakes are. Being party leader is a tough job, and maybe some folks just aren't up for that challenge right now. And Anne's decision, though, that's a big one.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what it says about the party, what's going on behind the scenes.
Lots of questions there. Okay, so we've got the deadline for candidates coming up on January 23rd, and then the new leader will be chosen on March 9th. As we head into these final weeks, what should we be keeping an eye on? What are the key things to watch for?
Get ready for a whirlwind because things are about to ramp up. We'll be watching for those policy announcements, the big speeches, the debates. How do these candidates lay out their vision? What's their plan for the party, for the country?
Right.
And keep an eye out for any alliances forming between candidates. Things can get pretty strategic as the race tightens.
Oh, yeah, the backroom deals, the whispers in the hallways.
Exactly.
This is going to be fascinating. So we've got this liberal leadership race that's shaping up to be a real nail-biter, and we've got a new, unpredictable U.S. president about to take office. What does all this mean for Canada? Where do we go from here?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
We've got a new generation of leaders stepping up, and they've got some serious challenges ahead of them. The economy, the global landscape, our relationship with the U.S., it's all in flux. The decisions made in these next few weeks, they're going to have a ripple effect for years to come.
No pressure, right? This has been a great overview. It's really helped to break down this whole crazy situation. Thanks for sharing your insights with us.
My pleasure. Always happy to dive into this stuff.
Now, for all of you listening out there, remember, this isn't just some political game. This race, it's about the future of Canada, about the direction we take on the world stage. So pay attention, stay informed, and get ready for a wild ride. We'll be back with more deep dives as this story unfolds. Until then, keep those ears open and those minds engaged.